saw the carriage. I was scared to death about that carriage. No. When we were going around the depot, I could see the people, like, but not like drone view, you know. And geez, where's everybody? Is all these people not gonna be here?
I don't know about Nancy. I knew Fowler.
Nancy's never late. I guess everything's okay.
Not that I'm aware of. Haven't heard you take this many
Go ahead and get started. Looking good.
Y'all ready?
Josh is getting his computer.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, good. Some
Game
technical
time
assistance. My computer's not working, but yeah.
You good if we start?
Can you stay out of trouble tonight, Larry's been pretty.
Yeah, Larry's got the
Got it?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the December 16th, 2025 City Council meeting to order. We're gonna start with a roll call to establish a quorum. We have Ward 1, 5, 6, and at-large present, as well as Ward 2. Okay, gonna ask Councilman Smith to lead us in prayer.
Dear Father God, we thank you for everyone gathered here today. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we ask that you would come by and send your Holy Spirit to inspire our hearts today. Come fill our lives with your love, fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Bless our council and bless everyone here, and touch our hearts and minds. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Okay, are there any agenda amendments needed? Okay. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our announcements. December 25th and 26th, City Hall will be closed for Christmas. January 1st and 2nd, 2026, City Hall will also be closed for New Year's. And January 6th will be our next City Council meeting. We do have some guests here tonight. We will start with the OLA Girls Volleyball State Champions. We have a proclamation for y'all. Congratulations as well.
Ladies, like to congratulate y'all one more time. Never gets old.
Never.
Whereas our Lady Crescent's volleyball team triumphed over the Alcorn Central Lady Bears in a thrilling 3-set victory in the 3A state finals, October 9th, 2025, in Clinton, Mississippi. Whereas the extraordinary win marks the Crescent's 4th consecutive Mississippi High School 3A volleyball championship title and their 18th overall state title. Wow. Whereas the city of Bay St. Louis proudly celebrates this historic accomplishments and joins the community in honoring the exceptional talent, teamwork, and sportsmanship of the Crescent. Now therefore, I, Michael J. Fogg, City of Bay St. Louis, together with the City Council and all of the citizens, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Our Lady Crescent, and I think y'all are the queens of the court of queens, for their remarkable season and their championship victory and their lasting legacy in the state of Mississippi. Presentation to you as well, please.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, over the fields we go, laughing all the way, ha ha ha, bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
I can get a quick one? Yes.
No, we
Yeah, couldn't help it.
Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Stand, ladies.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Can y'all see Councilwoman Davis in the picture?
You could pick her up.
Oh, that'd be real cute on. Oh, one.
I'll have to get a stool for you next time.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Congrats, girl.
Congratulations, girls. That's awesome.
Welcome here to the car with me. I go to get out the car and reach for my computer.
Some of them are Howler graduates, the leadership, the youth leadership graduates, yeah.
It's so lonely down here.
You're on an island, huh?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Give them a second to exit the room. Okay, we do have another guest speaker, Ms. Janelle Nolan with Coast Electric.
Come on now.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Janelle Nolan. I'm the Director of Community Development at Coast Electric. For the last 3 years or so, we have donated our Santa chair for your Christmas holidays. And I'm excited to share with you guys that this year we have gifted the chair to the City of Bay St. Louis for you all to use in future parades and festivities as well. Thank you all for all that you do in the City of Bay St. Louis for our families and our children. This is a wonderful event that you guys host every year, and we're glad that we can gift this chair to you guys. I know my kids have sat in this chair, my dogs have taken pictures in this chair, so we wish you all the best with it, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Merry
Jordan, do you
Christmas.
want to make a motion to
Accept
accept the donation? Yeah.
I make a motion to accept the donation from Coast Electric, accepting the donation of the Santa chair from Coast Electric. To have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Count real quick. Okay. This will be, I believe this is the non-agenda items. Caitlin, do we have the other public forum? This is the non-agenda items. You have anyone on this one? Yeah, you do it. Okay, we're gonna move on to our public forum regarding our agenda items. We do have, Mr. Johnny Raffio signed up. We'll say this is the agenda item comment period. I'll call you back up for our, non-agenda items. Okay? And then we do have Miss Anita Warner here to speak about the tree ordinance.
Anita Warner, behalf of the Live Oak Registry, and I'm really happy that we finally have proposed additional tree ordinance. I do have a couple of comments about it. I think it works well if people follow the requirements of site plans and all of that prior to getting their building permit, but I have questions as to what happens when people just decide that they're going to go out and cut a bunch of trees and then they don't build for a while. So is there any way to see about that? One of the things I think may be problematic is a permit is not required for minor pruning of a permitted tree, protected tree. But I didn't see what, okay, minor pruning is cutting, pruning, or otherwise altering any limb, branch, or portion of a tree, protected tree greater than 6 inches in diameter, measured at the point of the cut. You can do a whole lot of pruning to a tree that might be considered minor, but you can do a lot of damage to a tree if you cut everything that's within that size range. So likely about like this. You can always, I just want to make sure that we're clear about that, because pruning an oak tree there's an art to it. And the same thing with magnolias. One of the things that I would really like y'all to consider at some point is the requirement that when people build, that they must install trees. Other places where I have lived, if you build a house, you have to install 3 trees. It doesn't have to be a live oak. That's not appropriate for everything. But there are plenty of smaller trees. Crepe myrtles are one example. Sweet bay magnolias, which have a very small flower about like this, but which are really pretty. Small leaves, not the same thing as a Magnolia grandiflora. They also have what are called little gem magnolias, which are like a miniature of a big magnolia. And I remind everybody that the magnolia is the state tree of Mississippi. You can also plant things like sweet olives and swamp maples, red maples. They're easy, they're fast growing. But we really need to put more trees when we let people come in and clear cut. Then they build a big old house and all you see is grass. We need trees, we need the tree canopy. And crepe myrtles are a really good example because they can get tall. They give you flowers all summer when everything else is burned up. That's what the birds and bees eat on. So I'd really like to see you add something in here that requires anybody who builds a house to install some trees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We do not have anyone else signed up for our public forum. We'll move on to our minutes approval. I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Davis. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions about any of the items? Okay, I will call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to project updates.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We do have 3 action items tonight that should be in your agenda packet. The first one is change order number 3 for manhole adjustments. This is for the ARPA Citywide Sewer Improvements Project. This is the project where we've been improving the sewer system, lining it, cleaning it, lining the manholes. We found several manholes that are buried or paved over. And so we've asked the contractor to submit a price to raise those so that the city will have access to the manholes. Quantities are estimated, so we'll pay, once the contract completed, we'll pay on how many manholes were adjusted and things like that. But we've estimated some quantity in this third change order, so we're asking for that to be approved tonight. It's all within the scope of work of the ARPA project. It's all part of the sewer improvements for the city. So we're asking for approval of that tonight.
Any other questions?
So this is hopefully not to exceed this, hopefully they don't find more than.
I don't think we will, Josh. I mean, we've gone throughout the whole city and looked for all the manholes, and we've added some quantity to this to be sure we had it covered, so we should come in below that number.
Okay, good.
Okay, great.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilman DeSalvo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
All right, thank you for that. The second item, change order number 1. So this is also part of the ARPA citywide sewer improvements, but we do have a separate contract. This is with Bay Motor Winding. So what we did is we went through all the lift stations in the city, inspected the control panels, looked at all the piping, looked at all the valves, looked at all the pumps to see what improvements we need to make. What we did notice is that a lot of the elbows that are part of the discharge piping in a lift station were corroded. The bolts were corroded. So really that affects the operation of the pump station. So instead of pumping the sewer, downstream, it's just circulating within the pump, the lift station itself, the wet well. So we do have a change order number 1 for Bay Motor Winding to go in and change out a lot of these elbows. I think there's 3 stations that we found, that had elbows that were broken, so we're asking for approval of that tonight.
And all this is covered by ARPA funds.
All comes on our ARPA, that's right. We'll have another project, hopefully in January. We'll have some funds remaining, that we need to, appropriate either for some additional sewer lining or additional manhole lining or maybe some lateral lining. So this is all covered under the ARPA sewer grant.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman DeSalvo.
Second?
I have a second by I'm gonna read the motion, actually, just to read it in.
Okay, all right.
I have a motion by Councilman DeSalvo to approve change order 1 from Bay Motor Winding in the amount of $82,050 for the lift station assessment project for ARPA sewer improvements. And I have a second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0.
Jason, when does this have to be spent by?
They have to be, closed out by the end of 2026. All the funds have to be expended by then. So we have a year left to spend the rest.
Might even be a little less than a year. I can't remember if it's December or if it's,
The state says, they want the final closeout packages to be submitted around September,
that's what I was thinking.
and then the federal grant says by the end of 26.
So September.
All right, so the final motion that we are asking for tonight, this is to award, the main drain debris removal, project. This is an NRCS funded project. We did receive grants. I'm sorry, 7 bids were received on November 12th. The low bidder was, Miller Enterprises, but they didn't have the proper paperwork to be submitted, so we're recommending rejection of Miller Enterprises bid. So the second low bidder was Brothers Service Company LLC. Their base bid was $1,491,950. We've reviewed all the bid documents and everything is in order. It does fall within the grant amount, and so we are recommending award of the main drain improvement to Brotherhood Service. You should have a bid tab with all the bids that were received.
And should that be awarded, we need to make sure the motion includes that Miller Enterprises was rejected because they did not include a complete bid proposal. Trying to see if it says in here exactly what they didn't have.
Yeah, it's on the bid tab. The addendum weren't acknowledged and the questionnaire was not submitted.
I'm gonna write that into the motion real quick.
This is gonna clean all the main drains or most?
Sort of. The NRCS funds can only be used for debris removal, and then for, stabilization. So there's some areas that we've experienced some erosion, some washout. We can go in and add riprap to that, and then cleaning out any debris, any sediment that might be blocking flow. So we're not increasing capacity from the standpoint of rerouting any ditches or widening any ditches. But we are increasing capacity by removing debris, removing sediment, and reestablishing the flow line of the ditch.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, Heather, I'm gonna read this motion, you tell me if I get it right. I'm gonna call for a motion to accept Kenichi's Engineering's recommendation to deny Miller Enterprise LLC due to an incomplete. Reject Miller Enterprise LLC for an incomplete bid proposal due to addenda,
Yeah, I think incomplete
an incomplete bid proposal.
bid package.
Bid package and award the contract to the lowest and best bidder, Brotherhood Services Company LLC, in the amount of $1,491,950 for the main drain debris removal project, and authorize the mayor to execute all contract documents. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Moynihan seconds.
Any discussion?
Where are they from?
Loosedale.
Brotherhood's from
Loosedale, I think. Georgetown.
Loosedale.
Yeah.
My computer's not working, so I can't look.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Nope, that's it.
Vote the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to the city clerk's report.
Thank you for that. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start by calling a motion to approve the professional services agreement with Harper, Raines, Knight and Company, HRK, to update the city's financial manual for a fee not to exceed $25,000, and to approve the use of the municipal reserve funds to cover this unbudgeted but necessary expense.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith,
Second,
second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion? I will bring up, this was something that was recommended from our auditors to update as well, so.
The last one was 2017, which is almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Staff has changed, processes have changed, and when we gave it to the auditors, when they first started, this was something they said, hey, we gotta get this up to date. And so you'll notice that's a weakness in our audit. So we wanna go ahead and get that process done. This company actually did ours in 2016 and 17, as part of a grant that was done back then. So basically, it's an hourly rate not to exceed 25,000 to help them update it. And I did get another quote from BDO, formerly Horn, and that proposal was with your agenda. It was 53,000 to 67,000 on an hourly rate, but it was about twice the hourly rate.
Okay,
So I was going with the lower one that
Yeah.
is familiar with us.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. I'll call for a motion to approve the docket of claims 25-067 dated December 16th, 2025, in an amount of $2,612,988.30.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the mayor's agenda. We'll go ahead and call for a motion to approve the VFIS insurance renewal for the fire department.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis.
Jordan John is here.
Is here.
He's our insurance agent, if you wanna.
You wanna come talk for Mr. John?
John Rossetti with Rossetti and Associates. The DFIS program, I don't know of a fire department that's not in the DFIS program. It's all inclusive. I think we put the city in there probably about 15 years ago. It covers everything. The breathing apparatus, the hose, the fire suits, the helmets, the jaws of life, all the equipment that's all in there. It's the liability limits, it's the building, the flood, wind, everything to the full limits of excess of $10 million. Saw an increase, a little bit surprised about that, but overall for the city of St. Louis, you're gonna see a decrease. So you're gonna be under budget for insurance for the total package for the year. You know, we'll get the small increase. We're gonna be under budget when we do the rest of the stuff. So seeing rate decreases, especially with the inactive hurricane season. So on the larger insurance package, these pretty good decreases. Any questions?
I don't have anyone have any questions, discussion?
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll call for a motion. Got the motion in a second, huh?
Yeah, Smith and Davis.
Any other discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, we're gonna move on to agenda item B, a motion to approve and increase the annual salary of the building official from $64,290 to $69,240 as an exempt employee.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion?
I think that position's becoming very competitive along the coast to have good building officials and
Yes.
inspectors, so definitely need it. And
You know,
that
before,
department-
he was hourly as well with
Yeah.
overtime, so this just balances it out
Mhm.
with that.
And like I said, during budget time, the building department actually brings money into the city also. It's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
Correct.
taxpayers' money going out. They work off the fees and permit fees they collect, so.
I think it's money well spent.
Well
Yes.
spent. Yes.
Yep.
And
Any
just so you see it coming forward in January, you will have an update to your ordinance, so you may see that on the consent agenda, but just know that that's what that correlates to. That makes sense?
Yeah, we have this one, and y'all, we had one other change about, I don't know, 2 meetings ago
Yeah.
for a payroll and police. And so those 2 changes will show up in your spreadsheet that has the whole list that we have to approve as a group.
Okay, all right.
Any other discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item C, it is just discussion regarding the draft tree protection ordinance. I guess, Councilwoman Moynihan, do you want to start off any discussion on that?
No, I like it.
Looks good to me.
My computer's not working, so I just,
I'm fine with
Fine with it?
Yeah.
I guess
I don't
just
have a
kind of
copy of it
answering
with
some
me.
of Ms. Warner's questions about defining pruning. Is that something that, is there like a minimum?
In your ordinance, it's 6. You're welcome to put it whatever you want. It was a,
6 diameter or 6
Okay, so
I think it's 6 diameter if I don't have it right in front of me, but there was a lot of discussion about that, Jordan, and some of it is to being what's practical in your building department.
Yeah.
So, you have to come in, you have to get a permit, it takes administration, it takes time. So it was trying to figure out, okay, what is not gonna just completely bog down the building department and hopefully make people do what's right as well. So that's where 6 was looked at. We looked at multiple different ordinances really from around the nation, and 6 seemed to be the sweet spot. So that's where that number came from.
Okay.
But y'all are welcome to change it to whatever you want.
I think 6 is good. I just wanted to
I think it's
ask
good.
some, yeah, okay.
I guess my thing on, I'm not looking at it, but would be just in general, a platted lot that's been there for years, I don't wanna make it unbuildable. But then somebody comes and does a subdivision and don't do the homework right, and don't subdivide the lots correctly, I don't think we should give them permission to cut the trees, cause they should've made a buildable lot at the time they did the subdivision.
Not a hardship.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's something that commend Jeremy Burke on too, is telling people up front, you don't need to. He has really started driving that home when subdividers come in or developers come in and say, no, you can do that, but that's not a buildable lot, and you're gonna have that tree there. So, and moving forward too, that's something for you guys to know, that itself is grounds to deny. I mean, if somebody gives you a plat and 40% of their lots have oak trees in the middle of them
Right.
because they're drawing them to make more money rather than shifting all the lots 10 feet, and they may lose a lot. That's a reason to deny a subdivision. So it's always something to keep in the back of your brains when those developments come forward.
all right, good.
Any other discussion? Okay, we will move on to council business.
Look, when y'all look at, if you have anything, just make sure you send it in,
I will.
and, any suggestions, ideas, whatever.
And Caitlin, can you go ahead and push that forward to the next agenda for approval, just so it doesn't get forgotten? You okay with that,
Well,
Lisa?
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
And that tree ordinance will be adopted, that will become part, that section will be, I think it's chapter 7 for environment in the zoning ordinance. So we had Bob generate this and we tweaked it, so it'll fit right
Fit
into
right
your
in.
ordinance.
So, yeah, so that's what, we wanted to go ahead and pull that one out and get it finalized because it's a need that we needed to do, and we didn't want to wait until all the zoning is done. So we go ahead and get that adopted, and then it'll just, once you're adopted, then it will just be plugged right in. So basically you'll adopt it, and then a few months it'll
Same
basically
language.
be pulled back, but just pushed back into your zoning ordinance rather than a standalone ordinance.
Ordinances in general. Who puts it on Municode? Whose responsibility is it to update Municode? Cause I looked for some ordinances I know we have and couldn't find them online recently. I think one was the fill dirt ordinance, I was trying to find.
So Caitlin does that, right,
Okay.
Caitlin? the issue, and so what we need to check is because up until around, 4 or 5 months ago, they would only do one sweep a year and put ordinances. So any sort of ordinances like that, we just need to make sure that they got uploaded during that sweep. Because I guess for the first, 4 or 5 years, well, more than that, from, up until a few months ago, it was, I guess, send them in, and then we just need to make sure nothing was forgotten.
Or separate link on the website maybe to those ordinances as we put them into place.
So now you can definitely do that. You can put under like newly enacted ordinances. I've seen a lot of cities do that. But now they're immediately pushed out in. So what you may want to do, Caitlin, is, because we really haven't had that many ordinances. We don't pass ordinances left and right. So what you may want to do is just go back and look over the last several years and pull out our different ordinances. And actually, they're all in a book. So if you just get those and then maybe just check to make sure they're in MuniCode, and if for some reason they're not, send that information to MuniCode and get them to drop them in for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You got something else for that?
Moving on to council business. We do have on the agenda to discuss going out for an RFQ for the first and second floor of the Depot building. It was submitted by Councilman Lewis. I know he's not here tonight, but I think we can still have some discussion about what the process should look like, what we'd like for it, kind of keep the ball rolling on this, because it's something that we do need to get done. We spent a lot of time. So just, I guess if we want, we can go through and answer the who, what, and why, we'd like to.
And let me, maybe there might be a little education moment here. So it says RFQ, which means request for qualifications.
Right.
So that's typically what you would see if you're going to hire a professional, such as a engineer, architect, attorney. So you wouldn't want to go out for an RFQ for something like this. And then if you're wanting to go out, you will see sometimes people going out for proposals. But if you're doing that, typically, so that's where whatever conversation you're about to have, you need to know the parameters of the law. So if you're interested in doing business with a nonprofit, okay, nonprofits is where you can come in and you do not have to do fair market value rent. You can do fair market value rent, but you don't have to do fair market value rent. You can also go in and negotiate a certain price with a nonprofit. So if you're wanting to go do the nonprofit route, you might be able to request for proposals from, say, nonprofits, because in that way you can see what all they're offering and kind of look at what's the best use of the building. If you're wanting to go out and just do a straight fair market approach, then we need to get the fair market established, and that's, here's our price, this is what you pay. That's straight real estate transactional deal. You can even use somebody, a licensed broker, you can go that route with it. So that's an option. And then your other option, which is I guess kind of proposal, but it's more of a bid. That's where you put out, you say, hey world, this is what we have. We have 2 stories. You tell us what you want to pay for it. And that's a separate type that you go, but you don't look at that. That's straight price base. So if you have, person A wants to come in and do a donut shop and pay you $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month is what you're looking at. Person B might want a golf cart rental, but they're willing to pay you $1,001. Well, they're the winning bid. So that's your other way of doing that. So I think it's important. You can't really group everything together because everything stands alone differently depending on what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if we did the latter, could we say open for rent, but must start at minimum pricing type thing, or?
So what you typically do around there is just, you kind of let the word out what your pricing would be, but just because you do something like that doesn't mean you have to accept it. So, we've gotten absolutely ridiculous proposals back on city buildings before, and you just reject them. So if somebody comes in and, hey, I want to start selling golf carts and I'm going to pay you $200 a month and nobody else put in a bid, that would be ridiculous to rent it to me for $200 to Flourish my golf cart business.
Right.
And you just reject the bid.
So there's not a way just to say, okay, we're gonna go out for an RFP, see what comes in,
Right.
and you have, if you do it that way, you would have to take the highest bidder. If you just put a blanket RFP. if
I mean,
you
so it's
put
not really an
private and-
RFP at that. That's a way of basically surplusing property is what it's under. And yeah, that's where you just say, this is what we have for bid. Everybody, it's a sealed bid approach. They're due at whatever time, and you open the bids and you see what people want to do on the property. It's a little hard to successfully do something like that. Actually, not a little hard, a lot hard, because people that want to operate a business have to have a business plan, and they have to know what. So typically when you do something like that, you may open the bids for a month or two. Well, if the public doesn't know that the building's available, I mean, it's really hard for somebody to come up, go with a business plan, figure out what they want to do, figure out how much they want to pay you, make sure the bank's going to loan them the money for whatever they're wanting to do, all in a short amount of time, if that makes
And then
sense.
Can we
they'll
extend
offer a
it?
3-year lease too.
Yes, that's another issue that you have. If you have somebody coming in and they want to invest substantial amount of money in that property, well, right now you can't bind another council. Now you can do a lease. You could enter a 10-year lease. It just becomes voidable. It's not automatically void. It just becomes voidable. So with that, you have to think about it from a business owner's perspective. They're only going to look at it as a 3.5 years. So say if we did it today, a 3.5 year lease, because they don't know what the next council is going to do. The next council can walk in on July 1 and say, hey, you're out. And so banks are going to look at the longevity of that if they're donating money for, say, renovations or capital improvements.
I think it's smart for us to determine what we think the building is best suited for. And I don't think it's for private business, my personal opinion. I think it's really not conducive for commercial space. It needs to be, used as an asset for the city. A gateway for, somebody coming in and leaning more towards the tourism avenue, to the promotion. And that could be, they could make a lot of money selling a lot of,
Trinkets.
Bay St. Louis
St. Louis
hats
mimic,
and
right.
shot glasses and having, different artists have their wares there. So that's where I'm gonna lean in.
Yeah.
That
And-
we really
Well, we
need
could do
to,
that,
we
like-
really need to focus on.
On the bottom floor, but then we have the top floor too that we could do something with. Could be completely separate.
I think it would be horrible to have a private.
I think the problem with, I guess, the whole building needing to be nonprofit, and this is something that I know I've said quite a few times, and had conversations some with Councilman DeSalvo and Councilman Lewis. With, one thing I've always heard with going to the private sector, not in the depot building in general, but as a city, is that we're bad landlords or bad managers of property. But in my opinion, whether we manage or we're overseeing a nonprofit or a for-profit business, then we're still property managers. We're still landlords. So if the bottom we say we want to keep it and kind of design and outline something that maybe a nonprofit would be better suited for, I think it would be hard to fill that whole building with just nonprofits is going to be the trick, because you got 8,000 square feet, and I think that would be hard to fill the whole thing. So to Councilman Smith's point, if you want to have one part maybe open and see what nonprofits put in for it and kind of outline what we'd like to see in there.
Well, you also want the first and second floors to complement each other, to feed off of each other.
Yeah. Any thought processes of it? along?
I think we could be talking to, you know, a lot of different entities.
Yeah, we could do like maybe
You know,
office
the-
spaces or something upstairs.
Yeah, that's what I'm, as far as to fill that bill, I was thinking maybe take the approach, because we don't have to accept anything. I mean, if we want to outline and say, hey, the bottom, we want to try, you know, someone come in and operate a visitor center and have art on display, and we want to outline what we want. I think that's a discussion we need to have to see what we want in there. And then for the top, I mean, hate to say it, but go out and see who's going to offer us the most. And
You know, one of the things was being talked about was, we went over to Biloxi, it's been a few months now over there, they had a building over there. And what they do is they rent wall space for arts and different things like that. So there's a group trying to put together a tourism, you know, welcome group, to maybe come in and do the same, to where they'll eventually be self-funded and all in this building, to where they would be leasing wall space to help pay expenses and different things like that with that. And it would also be a welcome / tourism type center for visitors coming in, where it would keep the buses and all going, the trains, you know, they come and go every day and different things like that. So it's something that the place in Biloxi was very successful. I think they had 40-something.
There's about 40 artists that are on
Artists.
display, and they each pay like $50-$60 a month to have wall space.
wall space, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think they get, it's 10% or 15% of the
Additional
sale
10%,
is maintained.
and then I think they have it to where they also have to work a day in that rotation. If not, they have to pay somebody to work for them. But it's something that, you know, I think that could work in there, whether it's just all downstairs and hopefully maybe it could be enough, you know, interest in it to where it would be upstairs or something as well. I don't know. But it's an option I think we can look at to try to have something in there without a lot of impact on the building itself.
And something like that can also leverage grants
Grants, yes.
and state funding, county funding, you know, so.
What I liked about that one in Biloxi was, for a lot of artists, they either don't have enough art to fill a whole building, but mostly they can't afford an entire space because it's so expensive. And, you know, but they could do a wall or two for a small fee. And so that's what kind of caught my attention on the Biloxi one when the mayor and I went and looked at it.
Who oversees that? Is it a
It's
nonprofit
it's a
overseeing
little
it?
organization that has a board, and
Okay,
you know, it's independent of the city.
that's,
You know, it's
But-
not, the money's not flowing through the city. It's completely separate.
But would that prevent us from doing something like, because at most of the other train stations, they have golf cart rentals, like, and let people rent golf carts. That it wouldn't intrude on anything on the inside. Could we still do that or allow that?
I think that's completely up
'Cause
to
a lot
you
of
guys.
people
I'm
would-
not sure
There's
who's renting
that
golf
whole,
carts.
there's that whole parking, golf cart
Yes.
parking,
Yeah.
lot
Right.
that I've never seen
I know, I know.
golf cart there.
You're right.
And I think some of that is confusing. I think we've talked about that
It
before.
is.
Well, we needed the signage, where they put that Amtrak sign, it makes it look like it's Amtrak parking and it's not. So word of mouth, I think we all need to work together to let citizens know that that is public parking, not, I don't know why the Amtrak, the fancy Amtrak sign is right there, but it's very misleading.
But I mean, you could maybe utilize that for, you know, that's where the golf cart rental
Well, I would think yeah,
could
depend.
be.
If you're looking at golf carts just for getting on and off the train, you're probably only looking at a couple golf carts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're looking at a full-fledged golf cart, then that's something, you know, rental shop, then you're looking at something totally different.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of these rental shops deliver.
Yeah.
So they probably
need
are
to
meeting them at the facility with the golf cart.
And
And
the
there's the golf cart
statistics
taxi-
are
taxi too.
more people are getting on the train in Bay St. Louis than getting off of the train in Bay St. Louis. So I don't know that, you know, a golf cart rental place would be a moneymaker.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think too, with the golf cart places that we have in Bay St. Louis delivering, I think it
Yeah,
would be
you
a,
could
yeah, I think it would be
call
more
ahead
of
and rent, reserve your golf
a
cart. They can meet
competition.
you right
We
there.
have about
Pick you
5,
up.
6, 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Well, something to ponder.
yeah, I think something.
if y'all wanna do a workshop,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'd
think,
love
something, come
I
up
think
with
we
some
need a,
ideas.
I think we have a workshop, need to have a
After the
workshop.
first of the year, let's look at a workshop and see
Yes.
what we can come up with, some ideas.
And
Yeah.
also, I'd like to hear the opinions from Councilman Lewis as well as Councilwoman Holmes. I know she's out on the waters and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to get some, public input.
yeah, absolutely.
And
So maybe
let our people, give us some kind of input
what they'd like to
that
see.
they would like to see there.
Yeah.
Should that be a public hearing instead of a workshop, or is it gonna open up a whole nother?
No.
I would do it in
No.
a workshop.
It's not a public hearing,
Workshop,
Workshop.
just a workshop.
workshop.
Workshop it, because I mean, if we can get some profit in there and help pay the bills for the building, it'd be nice too, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Because we're never gonna recoup all our costs, but if we had somebody in that could paying close fair market value for some part of the building and had the other part for the art thing you're talking about, or visitor center, I think it'd be good. I don't know if anybody could take on that whole building and do something with it and actually manage it and use it to its potential,
Right.
not nonprofit, just one maybe, unless it really grows. I couldn't see it starting there, because I guess then you'd be competing with the building downtown and stuff, on Second Street right there, what's that?
For art.
Gallery Hall or something?
Yeah, it's,
Century Hall,
well, not only that, but the one that's right down the street is Bay, the Arts for Bay, the Hancock County Art.
Arts of Hancock County.
Right, is right, literally down the street.
Yeah, and so, I mean, but,
Plus
yeah,
the Mad
I'm
Potter's Place is right.
I'm good with those suggestions too. I mean, if we can get some kind of visitor center, somebody to run it and do something, I think it'd be great. 'Cause I know since tourism closed down, foot traffic has really went way down in that building.
Do you think maybe the chamber could help us with that in any way? Getting tourism,
Maybe.
that'd be great.
I think that would be a
One
good
other
place to
comment.
start.
One other comment, I'd just refresh y'all on their budget, you did put about $10,000 in for a Main Street Association to begin that process. And so that is something also just be thinking down the road of,
And
what
don't
does
you
that
have
look
to-
like? And that's a 2-year process.
You have to wait, was it 2 years?
It's a 2-year process to get, you've got to, get your board of directors, you got, there's
That would,
bylaws,
that
there's
would've been
things
perfect.
that it has to, to make it work.
Right.
That's their process.
Okay, I think, we got a lot of different thought processes up here.
Yeah.
I think we need to schedule a workshop to do it. And that way we can bring our ideas and really try to narrow down what we wanna do.
And we can all have discussions, see if there's any interest from
Yeah.
anybody out there that might be interested in some of the building, whether it's to do that or.
Right.
Kinda get a feel from.
Yeah.
So, I guess we will,
Move along.
do we have to schedule the workshop in the meeting, or can I send an email out, see what dates work,
Send it
schedule
out.
the workshop?
Do it after.
Okay, perfect.
Find out what everybody works.
So we'll see what dates work, and then we'll come up with a day for a workshop. Moving on, any other discussion?
No.
Any other city council business?
No.
No. Okay, moving on to, the public forum for agenda items. Mr. Johnny Raffio, going to tell him.
All right. My name's Johnny Rappio. I'm the owner of Big Boy Status Towing. I've been trying for 4 years to get on record rotation. My attorney has been reached out to the city attorney and the chief, and we're trying to figure out why does it take 4 years for a company that's got all insurance, all equipment, and facility. Why does it take 4 years for them to give us an answer? They tell us that they're changing ordinance. When they give us the papers to fill out for the application, on top of the application says 2018. How can you change ordinance and give us a paper that says 2018? Is that possible? My question.
I have to defer
To Mr.
to
Yeah.
Barr.
legal or administrator.
I can't tell you what the application looks like. I know that they did change the procedures. It's not the ordinance, it's the procedures. that doesn't necessarily mean the application has to change because the requirements aren't gonna be in the application. I do also know that, yeah, it's been a 4-year process, but I do know at times, Mr. Raffio did not meet the requirements. I
We've
don't
always
think
met,
he's-
met requirements. She is incorrect. I've been on record rotation for 4 years for Mississippi Highway Patrol. We're in Picayune and we're going into Harrison County too, so we're
You
on
was
all
off
record
of that
rotation.
rotation as well at one
What?
time. You was off of that rotation as well, is when you got,
Not 4 years ago.
when you
4
got
years ago
relieved
since
from
I've been,
St. Louis.
4 years ago since I've been here,
when you
been
got
trying to
relieved
talk to
off
y'all
of
about
Bay
record
St. Louis.
rotation. I've been trying to get on here, and I meet all requirements: insurance, trucks, equipment, yard. So what is the deal?
I will say, from my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as a city council standpoint, we don't, I mean, that decision
It goes
isn't.
through the police department.
Goes through the police department. So you said you've met with Chief Kingston?
Josh. My attorney's been handling the rest, been talking to Ms. Heather.
The only thing he's asked me last week what the status was, and I asked the police chief, and the police chief said he was reviewing several applications. So I can't tell you. I don't know if he opened up applications. I have no clue.
Well, they
That's
told me,
not on
they told me when I went on their fourth, they said I'd have a letter in 10 days and we still haven't got it. So what's the deal?
I don't think anybody in this room can answer
Yeah,
that question.
Okay, well, when do I need to come back to me, so we can find out this all together?
You know, I'll reach out to Chief Kingston and see where he's at in the process. If you want, I can get your phone number.
Yes.
And then,
I would like somebody to reach out.
Reach out and communicate and then go from there. But unfortunately, none of us up here will be able to make that decision for Chief Kingston. But as far as just finding out, maybe to get you answers what the holdup is or whether there's a yay or nay, just to give you the answer.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, perfect.
You want my number?
Yeah,
I'll give it to you right now.
You're gonna get a bunch of calls.
I don't care. I have no care.
You know how many people watch
That's
this thing?
good, because that's good. They need it's 601
601
337
337
24
24
44.
44. Okay.
And I go by JR.
JR. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We have Miss Anita Warner.
Give me my pen back.
For Shieldsboro.
Okay, so this may be better directed to the city attorney. At this point, are we still operating under the old tree ordinance?
We are.
Well, okay, so what's happening with Shieldsboro? What are they doing about the trees they cut down, and what are they doing with going?
I mean, we can't answer that, Miss Anita. It goes, if they have been given citations, it goes to the court system. I'm not the city prosecutor, I'm the city attorney, but the city also has a prosecutor. So all of that has been, the building department has issued their citations, and it's sitting with the city prosecutor. And I'm just not up to date on where they are in that process or what's going on with it.
Okay.
But it's pending. I know it's pending in front of city court.
But I'm gonna go back to what I said when I was talking about the tree ordinance. Okay, those people have clear cut. They basically went in there and clear cut. They left maybe 3 trees, but they cut a lot of protected trees. And I understand we're citing them. But going forward, when they start building again, you should require them to put in some trees with every house. If you drive along Old Spanish, you can see they've got this list of houses and there's not a tree out there. Not any trees on the backside. There's trees in Shieldsboro that were there, but it's part of whatever y'all decide to do with Shieldsboro, and I understand that we're litigating all this. They should be required to put in trees, and I'm gonna say again, they don't have to be live oak trees. There's lots of other kinds of trees they could put in out there that will grow fast, that will get tall, that don't necessarily grow like a live oak, which is like a mushroom and comes down to the ground. So please make sure that if we settle something with these people, that they put some trees in to replace the ones that they clear cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anita. And also just want to point out, I appreciate the comments on the second half of it. But on the first end, when asking Ms. Ladner some questions, feel free to reach out outside of the council meeting. That way, when we're here, we're attending council business. So, thank you. Okay. moving on to the attorney's report.
I'm good.
Good, okay. Any executive session needed?
Nope.
No? I'll call for a motion to adjourn the
Motion.
meeting of December 16th, 2025. I have a motion by Councilman Smith. Do I have a second?
Davis.
Second by Councilwoman Davis. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. Meeting adjourned.
Merry Christmas.